Hey, it's April with the Possible Diet, and today I'm going to show you how to make mashed green sweet potatoes, or mashed Japanese sweet potatoes with greens, however you want to call it. This starts with a couple of big sweet potatoes, like maybe a little bit bigger than my hand, just like two. You dice them all up, boil them put them in boiling water for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how big you make your slices. They might take longer, more or less time to cook. You can tell they're ready because you can put a fork in them and the fork goes all the way through. You can cut it with a fork. So they look kind of like that. They're like steamy and a little translucent. And this is the trick. I put a lot of different greens. I change this recipe up all the time depending on what I have in my fridge. One of the things I like to put in are ribs from kale or mustard greens or whatever greens you have the ribs for. Never tried it with chard though, but I imagine it would probably be pretty good with like chard and maybe some bacon or prosciutto, just like my omelets. And so the trick is, since these sort of have to be parboiled or steamed before you mix them in here, I pour them into the strainer, about like a cup's worth, and then I drain the potatoes right on top of them and then dump it all in the pot. So once the potatoes are done, take them away. You can see I've drained the potatoes right on top of this. We're gonna let those sit for just a hot minute so that the ribs get nicely softened. Sorry, that was my timer for my boiling my potatoes. So just shy of 15 minutes. Other ingredients you're gonna need for this recipe: fresh or freeze-dried chives, I like. You can use green onions if you want it to be a little bit oniony. About a quarter cup of salted butter, I like grass-fed. And then this is my secret ingredient, Siggi's low sugar plain. This is awesome. It only has 4 grams of carbs per serving and only 2 grams of sugar, but it clocks in at 15 grams of protein. So those are great. And then this is a little something that I make. I'll link to the video. This is my dried celery salt. Basically, I just take the leaves from celery and coat them in a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of garlic salt or garlic powder, and then I bake them in the oven until they crisp up. And then once they're crisp, I crumble them all up into this celery dust. It's kind of nice. And then this is just a mix of parsley and carrot tops that I had left over from making my Cajun boats. You can just use plain parsley if you want. The idea behind this is that Japanese sweet potatoes are starchy, but they have a lower glycemic index than like russet potatoes, and they're slightly sweet. So I like to use them instead of mashed potatoes for any dish that I want like mashed potatoes in. So, but when I do use them, I like to add protein, veggies, fiber, nutrients, so that it cuts up that carb content ounce per ounce. Now you see those greens are nice and steamed. Key for this is a potato masher. Do not use beaters on potatoes. What beaters do is enhance gluten and they make them very gluey. So this is your magic tool for mashing potatoes. Go ahead and add that butter on top of the potatoes. And like I said, I change this up all the time. If I have crumbled bacon or pancetta or prosciutto, I might mix it in here. You know, now my brain is turning like, ooh, I gotta try this with chard stems and prosciutto because I've tried that in an omelet and it's really good. So just kind of toss the butter around until it melts. I'm adding a couple of tablespoons of chives. Generous tablespoons. You can use fresh chives if you have them. I just like these because they're handy. They rehydrate pretty easily. Just a couple of sprinkles of my celery salt. Gives it a little bit of a different herby flavor. It almost reminds me of the Green Harvest seasoning that I have from Frontier. And then some carrot tops of parsley, a couple of tablespoons of that. Don't be shy with your greens. You know, any ounce of chlorophyll that you can get in your body. I'm convinced that there are things that we don't even know about green leafy plants that are really, really good for us that, you know, we're going to find out in the coming years. Would not surprise me at all. It's probably Michael Pollan's next book, Green is Magic. If you like, just saying, you can add a little garlic confit to this. You know me, I love my garlic confit. Try to get mostly garlic, not so much olive oil. You don't really want these to be too rich. And then salt. Japanese sweet potatoes are naturally sweet. They almost have like a chestnutty flavor. And it goes really, really well with a little salt and a little pepper. Speaking of, here's some pepper. We want to add the cream last. So we don't have to mix it as much. So once this gets going, it's going to look like this. It's almost like Colcannon in a way, if you've ever had Colcannon. And then I'm going to add this whole container. There's about 8 ounces if you have the big container. So it's like maybe half a container per sweet potato is what I end up using. And then once this gets a little mashed, now you want to bring your masher in. Really use your elbows. And by this point, you don't need to mash them that much. You just want to get the major lumps out. Colcannon is actually a really good dish, but sometimes it's, you know, it's got like heavy cream in it. These are creamy because of the yogurt, and they just have a little bit of a different flavor than like real mashed potatoes, but I find them to be equally comforting and delicious under the chicken knot pie, by the way. Give it just another little fold. And there you have it. Super easy, super healthy, fresh, lower glycemic index than potato buds. So consider this the next time you're considering potato buds. It's better for you, and I promise it's delicious. Enjoy.